Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Adam. You're watching Unlimited Options Investing. In this video, I want to talk about the market and where I think it's going over the very short term. So if you're feeling FOMO in the market, don't. I'm going to give you guys my explanation as to why I think the market could be a little bit volatile over the next week, maybe two, and why I think toward the end of the year, the market could have a nice little rally into 2022. So before we get into the main part of the video, if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard and hit that subscribe button. Here at Unlimited Options Investing, we talk everything from stocks, crypto, options, ETFs, precious metals, all the fun stuff, and we are investing for the long term. As always, smash that like button. And first, NVIDIA today. I just released another video about NVIDIA, about today how I lost about almost $3,000 in that and AMD today. It was more of an opportunity cost, but it still hurts nonetheless. As it was right there, I just need to not do anything, but that's another story on its own. Go watch that video if you want to learn an expensive lesson that you can avoid by watching that video. But nonetheless, I still want to take a look at it right now because it was the hottest stock of the day, up about 12% on the day with pretty big volume, probably the biggest volume it's had since correction last September. For when it was trading at about half of what it is right now. So it was about 140 at that time, and today it's about 280. Well, it was at 280, and now it's at almost $300. So the first thing while zoomed out that you can notice is that we are pretty overbought. More overbought than we were at the top of the correction from last September, as well as the top from this previous July. That doesn't mean everything, however, that is a little bit of cause of concern when it comes to me at least. And not to mention, we also have this wick over here where we reached a top of about 312. The sellers eventually stepped in, pushing the price back down to where it is right now. We also have a gap up here and a gap up here, and we're pretty detached from the moving averages. I would not be surprised if we touch them again. I don't know at what level we will, or if we're going to fill the gaps per se, but those are just things to take into consideration. Taking a look at Tesla stock, so I actually didn't see this candle until this moment. That is an indecision candle if I have seen it on. So this means one of two things. Tomorrow could confirm which direction Tesla stock will continue going in. If we end up going into strength tomorrow, then the move is going to continue going up. However, if we get a nice red candle over here, that could be a sign for things to come and people starting to take their profits on Tesla stock. However, we did have some candles over here that look bearish, but then again, Tesla stock kept going up. So, I mean, anything's possible, but this is definitely an indecision candle with the buyers and the sellers battling it out. And same idea as NVIDIA, we are in overbought levels as well. The last few times that we were here, earlier in January this year, December of last year, and in August, and we see over here, even though we are overbought, it continued going up much more afterwards. So we got to be very careful. You can't take these indicators as a blanket indication for sure where it's going to be going, because anything can really happen, right? And you can end up losing a lot of money that way, or opportunity costs, leaving money on the table. All right, so taking a look at the VIX, we are at the bottom of our channel. There's really no fear in the market, and I actually showed you guys yesterday the fear and greed index on CNN. Right now, we're still in extreme greed at a rating of 82 out of 100. 1 week ago, we were at 72. 1 month ago, we were at fear. And funny enough, actually, 1 year ago, we were at fear as well. And if anyone remembers what happened with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ at the beginning of November last year, it went straight up after that vaccine news came out in early November. I think it was November 6th, if I have my memory correct. But so the VIX could be due for another spike. In the short term, maybe we could see a potential double bottom as well, as we have a bottom here. Found some strength and got rejected at the 50 EMA, and then now back down over here. So potentially we could see an increase on the VIX, which could put pressure on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. And looking at the 10-year note, which would also put a lot of pressure on the NASDAQ, where today was a red candle, and we're near that 50 EMA, so I'm expecting some kind of strength around those levels. And something I actually haven't looked at with you guys before in the past is the put-call ratio. So when the put-call ratio is higher, that means that there's a lot of puts in the market, and investors are fearful and bearish, and usually a good time to buy. And when it's usually at the bottom of that range, that also means the opposite, that more calls right now are being opened than puts. Everyone's extremely bullish, and that's usually when Wall Street likes to expire a lot of those call options worthless and push the price back down, because rich people can play those rich games, usually at retail's expense. All right, so taking a look at the FANG index, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. I wish it was Microsoft. You guys all know that already. So pretty much with this one over here, we're at one of those blue trend lines that I had drawn before. We see some resistance at these levels over here as well from August. And the last time we broke those levels, we actually reached new all-time highs, peaking in early September. And then obviously we had that correction afterwards. So we might not necessarily see the same thing right now, but that's something to take note of. If not, then we would see pull back to either one of these moving averages, which I'm actually hoping will happen, because I wouldn't mind getting some extra Google and Microsoft shares in there, because those companies are just amazing. And the numbers that they're putting out right now. So firstly, looking at the Dow Jones, we broke that upper trend line that we mentioned yesterday, and now we're still at all-time highs, but again, we're detached from those moving averages, so will we be surprised? Not really. Hopefully we find support around this 20 EMA where previous resistance was, and that would be a really strong indication moving forward, as well with the SPY. Also paying attention to the RSI, the S&P 500, similar to the FANG index, where trend line detached from those moving averages, and the RSI. The NASDAQ even more so than the other ones as well, reaching the top of the trend line, clearly overbought, detached from the moving averages. Like, to me, the signal's most likely some kind of pullback. Now, it doesn't have to happen. It could just continue ripping higher. That would be a little bit scary, though, because the further it goes up, then the harder it's going to come down. So what I want to see happen ideally is we pull back, and then from there we rip back higher. Maybe not as steep as we have been for the last, let's say, 2 weeks, because we had that correction, and then we had a steep recovery. But I want to see something like this where we grind up higher, where the slope isn't too high. If anyone remembers y equals mx plus b from grade 9 math, we want the slope to be nice and steady. To make you guys aware, I have been pretty aggressively taking profit over the last week or so. Some people will call me paper hands, and you can't hold long enough, and you may completely be correct, but with the money that's on the table from the gains, like, it's hard to say no. Don't let anyone like that ever shame you into not taking profit, because that's real money that you could be locking in and then using somewhere else, and you can always reinvest it, even if it's at a higher price. Like, for me, that emotional comfort, but that also completely depends on your circumstances, your goals, and all that, right? So what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for the next person, and also the IWM, which was reaching overbought territory as well, saw some weakness today. So if we see a pullback toward this blue line over here that I'm extending, again, resistance turning into support, that would be really nice if we get that pullback and then move higher afterward. The whole market would be just going higher with small caps first and then big caps following. Taking a look at the commodities, I'm going to call Bitcoin a commodity for this one, still trading sideways, respecting that 20 EMA, nothing crazy to note as of today. With Ethereum, we pulled back a little bit from all-time highs, so it'll be interesting to see if we touch that 20 EMA. If not, if we continue ripping higher, the 50 EMA, we'll just have to see with that one. Cardano, still below $2. If I had a wallet, I'd buy some. I don't. If you're buying Cardano, let me know in the comments below. And gold and silver, again, nothing new to note. It's still stuck within our ranges, not that exciting. Silver looking the better between the two. And lastly, looking at US oil, this one has still been falling. We are now below $80. And most likely a nice area of pickup would probably be around this 77.50, 78 area where the 50 EMA is, and its previous resistance point where support could potentially be. Otherwise, that's the end of my video. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you haven't already, subscribe and like. I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate every single comment I ever get on this channel. It's just so cool to me that people are actually watching me. I don't know. It's just super cool to me. Other than that, I will see you in tomorrow's video.